Hello, hello. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. I am live with you on. Oh, okay. I was just getting a note from Facebook message. It was telling me other connections. It always sends me too many tips. Anyways, I'm live with you on Facebook page and Instagram. So if you see me looking back and forth, it's because I have both things up at the same time. And yeah, so you might see me joining back and forth. But anyways, I'm so glad to have you here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Allison. I am a backpacking educator and empowerment coach, and I am the founder of the blog shedreamsofalpine.com, which is an outdoor adventure blog. We write all about hiking and backpacking and getting outside. And I'm also the creator and founder of the Become an Outdoor Backpacking Badass coaching program, which is where we dig in deep and teach you and teach women how to become safe, confident, and self-sufficient outdoor backpackers so that you guys can go on to live your biggest adventure dreams, but feeling confident knowing that you know what you need to do to be safe and have an amazing adventure, and you don't have to wait on anyone else to go do them. To make them come true. So that's who I am. If you're new to my world, welcome. So glad that you're here. I'm a little bit bad at multitasking, so I will say if you drop a comment in, I might miss it, but I'll come back to it at the end of this Facebook Live. So today I wanted to talk to you all about the big question that I know so many of you, especially women, have asked. Is it actually safe for women to go solo hiking and backpacking? That's kind of been our theme of the week, this particular topic. Because maybe it seems like anytime you mention the words like you wanting to go solo to anyone, their first response, like your friends, your family, their first response will be something like, isn't that dangerous? Should you really be going by yourself? I'm not sure that's a good idea. That sounds reckless. That sounds silly. You get a lot of people projecting their fears instantly onto you. That's like usually the first response when you tell somebody that you want to go on a solo adventure. Unless, of course, maybe you grew up in like a community where that's very normal, which is possible, but a lot of us, we didn't grow up in that kind of community. I definitely didn't. So I've definitely been there. I've been told many of the same things before. And while I definitely will say there are things that every single person should consider and prepare for before taking the leap into going into solo hiking or solo backpacking adventures, I am personally in favor of supporting women on pursuing solo adventures, whether that's hiking or backpacking trips, and empowering them with the tools, the skill sets, and the knowledge that they need in order to do so as safely as possible. And also teaching you guys how to make better assessments on when maybe a hike is better suited for a group versus solo, because sometimes maybe that is the better option, but just teaching you guys how to weigh those options and do that kind of research is what I'm super passionate about. And that's exactly what we do inside of our coaching program, Become an Outdoor Backpacking Badass. That's what it's called. Of course, it's not just for people who want to go solo. We have all kinds of people join the program, whether they want to go on their first backpacking trip or they want to lead backpacking trips. Like maybe they just want to be the person who's in charge, knows all the things, does all the planning, because they feel like that's the way they're going to get people to go backpacking with them, is if they take charge of that. But a lot of our students do have like at least a goal, whether it be far out or in the near future, like to go solo at some point. So we want to prepare them for that as well. So if you've been part of our kind of backpacking workshop summer series, we've been talking about how our enrollment for that program will open up on June 7th. So definitely stay tuned. But on this topic in particular, the topic of going solo and is it safe, I know that my opinion is only one voice on the subject, and I definitely don't want any of you guys making the decision to go solo hiking or solo backpacking solely based on what I say. I was like, wow, that's a lot of souls that I just said in one sentence. But I don't want you guys to base your opinions just on what I say. I want you to have a diversified perspective from other women who also go solo backpacking. So my team and I, we've been wanting to put this article together for a while, but we just didn't swing it last year when we were originally planning it. But we reached out to them this year, at least 8 badass women, to weigh in on their opinions on going solo and also their biggest safety tips, so that you guys can decide for yourself if going solo is something that you'd like to try on one day or not. We put all of their advice, because it's a lot of advice, for you guys inside of an article on our blog at shedreamsofalpine.com. And if you just go to shedreamsofalpine.com, there's a tab at the top that says blog. And since we recently published it, it's like one of the first ones that show up, but it's also titled, Is Solo Backpacking Safe for Women? In this article, you'll find advice, like I said, from 8 badass women, but that includes Nicole Snell. She owns the business Girls Fight Back. She's an outdoor self-defense expert. You'll also find advice from Ellen Miller, who is the first American woman to climb Mount Everest from both sides. You'll find advice from Kim Titchener. She is a bear safety expert with, I think it's called Rec Safe with Wildlife. And we have all of their info where you can learn more about them inside of the blog post. But we wanted to give her perspective, because it's maybe weighing the options, whether you're going into different types of bear territories and what you might think about in that situation. We also reached out to Sarah Highstand. She's an adventure fitness trainer in Alaska. And again, I thought this was a great perspective, because she's adventuring in Alaska all the time, and that's grizzly bear territory. So that was a cool perspective to have as well. And then also we have some backpacking badass students that weighed in. Those are students that have taken our program and gone on their own successful solo adventures. And again, so many more. There's, I think, 8 total, and we'll just keep adding to this list with time, but definitely go check it out. Now, I'm not going to cover that whole article in this Facebook Live, because I think it'll just be better and easier for you guys to go read through. But the first question that we asked these women was, what would you say to someone who says that women shouldn't solo hike? And I wanted to share this response that Nicole Snell from Girls Fight Back wrote us for this response. She wrote, most of my life, I've been told that women shouldn't solo hike. In fact, I've heard the word should quite often when it comes to restricting how women live their lives. When I hear those messages now, I chuckle a bit on the inside. I have traveled to dozens of countries solo, and I have hundreds of miles of solo hikes under my belt. And my response to someone who says women shouldn't hike solo is to correct them and remind them that we actually do. Solo hiking can be safe, fun, and healing. And when I solo hike, I feel free, independent, and connected to nature. I find that people often project their fear and safety concerns onto others. They think that limiting women's lives and activities is the way to guarantee safety. Solo hiking isn't inherently more dangerous than other activities that we do. Plus, I know I can handle myself no matter what situation arises, and I'm fully capable of defending myself. So that's what Nicole wrote. And, I would just add on to that, when you have the confidence of being self-sufficient, whether you're with a group or going solo, that just stacks onto your confidence when you're going solo outside by yourself as well. The second question that we asked in this article to all these women was, what is your number one solo hiking safety tip? And so I wanted to share a little bit of a part of what Kim Titchener said. Again, she's the wildlife and bear safety expert. What she said in response to this question. She said, the best tool that we have as women is our voice. When you hike or do any type of recreation in bear country, it is really important to let wildlife know that you are there and that you are human, not prey, and that you are moving in their direction. Most attacks we see on solo hikers are defensive attacks because the bear wasn't aware of their presence, and they get defensive on themselves, their cubs, or food source. So by making noise, we give bears an opportunity to be aware of us, move out of the way, and not be surprised. The other more rare type of bear attacks is predatory. This doesn't happen often, but by making noise, you help that animal identify and distinguish between you as a human versus you as prey. Somebody asked about a mountain lion. What is if you run into a mountain lion? So there is a great article that was recently published. I want to say on Outside Magazine, but it just goes to show you like how rare that actually is in perspective of like that actually happening and it being dangerous for you. Most likely you will never see a mountain lion on the trail because they are avoiding you. And it's a similar like preventative as you would with bears, like making yourself aware. But the article, I think it was Outside Magazine. I could be wrong about that. I'll look it up and try to drop it in the link after this. But they were saying how more people are bitten by New Yorkers than like even encountered a mountain lion or something like that. I don't know. It was like, you read through this article and it's like basically the title of the article is like, don't be scared of mountain lions on your hike. Meredith says, I saw a mountain lion midday once. Well, I mean, that's really rare. So I guess like that's pretty cool that you saw one. But, and what about a grizzly? So yeah, there's all types of ways that you want to respond, and preventative is like what we teach first. And then if you have encounters, like that next step of like what you should do varies depending on the situation. So like in our program, we have a whole video from a park ranger did like a training for our students on showing them the distinguishing features of whether like how the bear is responding to you and how you should react. And also, I think Kim, if you want to learn more about bears, because this is like, we're not going to teach all about bear safety in this training, but Kim Titchener, I think she dropped like a code if you want to take more bear safety training inside of our blog post on the blog. So definitely check that out for more resources. But number one line of defense, like Kim said in this first line, is the best tool that we have, like as women or men, is our voice and making ourselves aware to prevent encounters from ever happening. So again, head over to our blog to read all the amazing advice, because each person like gave their advice on what they would say to women who shouldn't hike solo, and what their number one safety tip was in that scenario. So yeah, and that includes 2 of our students from the Backpacking Badass program. But ultimately, I just like wanted to wrap up this particular topic on like, is it safe to go solo hiking and backpacking? I wanted to wrap it up by saying going solo is definitely a personal choice. No one should ever feel pressured into doing so. Like, I never want anyone to think they have to do solo backpacking in order to be a more legit hiker or backpacker. It's not like you aren't more legit whether you go solo or go in a group, because some people, they don't ever want to go solo, and that's totally fine. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's just your personal choice. But we also are trying to create a safe space for women to talk about going solo and getting prepared for it if they decide that is something that they want to do and do in the future. Because the truth is, a lot of us women do go solo, and a lot of us do it frequently. And those are the facts. Sometimes we go out of necessity, because we lack companions who want to go with us, and we don't want to wait around for others to join us to make the adventures that we want to go on happen. Sometimes we go out of desire, like to be alone with ourselves, our thoughts, and nature. Sometimes we go because we want to grow. Like, it's a way to show ourselves how capable we truly are, and learning to trust ourselves and to have our own backs. And many of us, we want to be examples of the change that we want to see in the world: safety for women, strength for women, independence for women, safer spaces for women, safer experiences for women. And we want that world. And so I feel like every time we step onto the trail, solo as women, we are actively creating that space every time we show up and take up space in these environments where we were traditionally told that we didn't belong or definitely didn't belong by ourselves. We just aren't drinking, yeah, so we're just not drinking that like damsel in distress Kool-Aid anymore. And we want to empower you with those tools. But whatever your reasons are for wanting to go solo or not go solo, we just want you to know in the end that you're not alone in your curiosity about it. And that is one of the biggest reasons that we wrote this article. We want you to feel like going solo or not is a choice that you actually got to make and not one that was forced upon you from fear. Because a lot of people feel like they don't want to go solo because they have just been instilled fear. And the funny thing is most of the people that instill fear in you about going solo are people that have never tried it themselves, never even really been outdoors that much themselves. Like, I just find that a lot of the people that I get the most pushback from are people who don't go outdoors and they just have a lot of fear from what they are seeing on the TV and the news. And you guys know, like, we shouldn't get all of our information from the news because they're just trying to hype up the worst case scenarios. So your next step after this video is to definitely head over to that blog post, read the great advice from our guest experts, and honestly, just think it over. Think about it for yourself. If you decide that going solo backpacking is something that you might want to do one day, but you feel like you need more guidance, that's what I'm here for. That's what me and my team are here for. And so many other women are here for. We are definitely super excited about welcoming our summer cohort of Backpacking Badasses in June. Again, like I mentioned, we're going to open enrollment for that June 7th. And also don't ever hesitate to send me a DM on Instagram and we can chat about it more. Like, I know I have discussions a lot of times with my students before they head out on their first solo adventures and just kind of talking them through the mind drama. Another good video for you guys to watch if you haven't watched it before is it's on my Facebook page. So if you're watching on Instagram, you might not be able to find it unless you head over to Facebook. But I did this video last year on pre-trip resistance. And it's talking about that space about when you first set a goal, you're really excited about it. But then that kind of 2 week out period, you'll feel this massive resistance to that goal. And that stems a lot from our fear and our anxiety. And so I addressed that in another Facebook Live. And I think that's really important for if you're planning to go solo as well, to kind of watch that, prepare yourself out for that kind of mind drama as well. So that is it for today. If you want to learn more about what it takes to go solo, you're new to all this, you just want to learn more, make sure to check out my Outdoor Backpacker Starter Kit. It's filled with 14 pages of my best hiking and backpacking tips to help you learn what it takes to become safe, confident, and self-sufficient outdoor backpacker. So you can grab that at shedreamsofalpine.com/adventure, and that will take you to the page where you can download that starter kit. Thank you guys so much for being here. Next week, I'm going to be hopping on at the same time, talking to you guys about embracing failure, the concept of embracing failure and why it's an important part of backpacking and life. So we're going to be touching on that subject in particular because it's another one that I'm really passionate about. And again, this is part of a summer workshop series that we're doing to help you get excited and prepare for your summer adventures. And we'll celebrate with a final big live workshop the week of June 7th to celebrate the open enrollment of our summer cohort of the Backpacking Badass program. So mark your calendars. I will see you guys next week for another live workshop. Thank you so much for being here live with me, those of you who were. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.